They say peace is a fragile thing. I used to think people exaggerated about that until you've lived long enough to see how fast it shatters. Out here on 600 acres of Oregon timber and sky, I thought I was finally done fighting for it. Silence so deep you could hear dew drop off pine needles, just the kind of hush a man could lose his worries in. But let me tell you, there's always somebody itching to take it from you, especially if your land looks untouched and your mailbox doesn't say HOA. Now, I came by this place the hard way. Years as a forest ranger, cleaning up wildfires, battling red tape, watching politicians bungle what they never bother to walk through. Every cent I had, every night spent mapping, planning, fixing what nature broke, I poured it into this land. No board meetings, no forms, no rules about how tall my grass could get. My setup's not a fantasy solar backup generator deep well, a forest use license and a security badge left over from contract work in the old days. I marked every line with GPS, painted every sign myself, wired up cameras, not out of paranoia, but because I know how people get when they see open ground. They start thinking boundaries are just suggestions. About a week after the last storm, I noticed trouble. Tire tracks snaked where only deer belonged, saplings crushed, marker posts snapped clean. I set out one morning, vest on, coffee in hand, and sure enough, 3 ATVs crawling through the east edge like they owned the place. I stepped right out, made sure my badge was visible, waved my hand and told them, "This is private property, folks. Turn around." One guy killed his engine and just started filming me like I was a bear at the dump. Never said a word, just zoomed in, then peeled off. The rest didn't even stop. That's the thing about people who think rules don't apply to them. Sometimes they just want a reaction. Didn't take long for the main act to show up. A couple days later, a trio walked up the drive. One woman, 2 men dressed for a city council meeting, all laminated folders and forced smiles. The woman, blonde bob, sunglasses worth more than my tool shed, unrolled this glossy map. "You must be the caretaker," she chirped. "I'm the owner," I shot back, but that didn't slow her down. Introduced herself as Karen Millard, president of the Whispering Pines HOA. She pointed to her map, big green corridor running straight through my property. "We're developing a community trail," she said, like that was a favor. "Passive recreation, environmental engagement, reconnecting the neighborhood with the forest." I just stared, then told her, "Great, do it on your side of the fence." She laughed dry, like she was used to people folding. "We believe this was federal land misallocated after the fire. We've submitted a public easement claim." I cut her off. "This land isn't misallocated. It's mine. Records markers and the sign on my gate prove it. Set foot on it again and we'll talk trespassing statutes." One of her guys stared at his shoes. Karen smiled, didn't budge. "See you with the police then." And off she went, plastic smile and all. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But people like Karen don't quit when they're wrong, they escalate. Next morning, as I was clearing brush, I heard the crunch of tires, fast, not slow, like a service truck. Then blue and red lights flashed through the pines. A green Durango, a sheriff's cruiser, and a forestry SUV pulled up, officers piling out with that hostage call energy. Hands on their belts, eyes wary. I stood there, no sudden moves, just "Morning, officers. What's the trouble?" Deputy Hensley County badge said. "We got a report, armed man, illegal occupation, detaining people in a cabin." I almost laughed. Not unless there's another me out here I don't know about. Ranger in the group recognized the property, asked for paperwork. "You're Ridgway, right? 600 acres out of the '08 fire recovery, that's the one." I had licenses, survey maps, camera footage showed them. Karen and her board tromping onto my land. No hesitation. No invitation. Hensley Radio's dispatch, confirm caller Ridgway incident. The answer came quick. Caller was Karen Millard. The forestry ranger actually snorted. "Mind if we bring her up to verify?" Hensley asked. Might want to brace yourself for theatrics, I told him. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, Karen storms up, no fleece vest now, just full PTA panic, jabbing a finger at me. That's the man. He's holding people in that shack, threatened my staff. I want him arrested. I just tilted my laptop to the officer's security footage, playing on loop, her stomping right onto my land. Hensley held up a hand. Ma'am, we've reviewed evidence. Property's privately owned. Nobody's being held. No threats were made, and you are on camera entering restricted land. Karen's face went from offended to full-blown rage. She yelled, "This is forest land. He's an extremist. You have to arrest him." Hensley didn't budge. "Ma'am, calm down." She lunged for his wrist. That was it. One quick move, she was cuffed, screaming that we'd all regret this as they hauled her off down the ridge. The ranger shook his head, muttered, "Is she always like this?" All I could say was, "Enough for a documentary." I figured after an arrest, maybe the HOA would back off, maybe send an apology. Instead, a courier shows up with a thick envelope. Letterhead reads, "McCready and Company Attorneys for Whispering Pines HOA." They weren't giving up. They were doubling down. Claimed my property had historical ambiguity, that it was part of some old municipal parks plan in concept. Filing for emergency injunctive relief, accusing me of impeding their forest connectivity initiative. Even threw in a veiled threat about illegal timber harvesting. I laughed out loud. My cameras could prove I hadn't chopped a squirrel since March. Classic pressure tactics scare the little guy into folding. But I don't fold. I called Sarah O'Neill, an environmental attorney who'd fought plenty of fights with me before. "Please tell me you pissed off someone with real money," she joked. Better I said I've got an HOA president who thinks a map trumps a title. We built a counterclaim, trespassing, defamation, false police report, and a violation of the Good Neighbor Forestry Act. Sarah wasn't here to play games. But the HOA was playing a different kind of game PR. Suddenly, local Facebook groups were flooded with posts about a reclusive squatter hoarding wildfire recovery zones, blocking community progress. They started spinning the media, calling me a nut job, a threat, a danger. Local news ran with it. Reclusive landowner versus community. The last straw came when someone spray-painted my gate. Community before greed. Sarah just shrugged. They want this to be a PR war. Fine, we'd fight in court. We filed everything in Multnomah County, added trail cam timestamps, drone footage, the arrest record, body cam, you name it. But the twist, someone left a flash drive in my mailbox, anonymous. Inside screen recordings of an internal HOA Zoom meeting. Karen full screen saying, "Once we build pressure, he'll fold. If not, we'll take the land piece by piece. No one's going to stop us over one stubborn hermit." Gold. Sarah's jaw dropped. Jesus, she thinks this is risk and you're the continent. We still didn't know who leaked it. But soon more evidence rolled in: audio files, internal memos, meeting notes. Turns out it was Alicia Rios, one of Karen's own board. "I can't watch her do this anymore," Alicia emailed Sarah. "She's not protecting the neighborhood, she's trying to own it." Meanwhile, the HOA submitted a forged map to the county, carving out a chunk of my property for pending recreational easement with a surveyor's signature I recognized from an old job. We got his firm to confirm signature was forged, document was a fraud. That did it. Sarah filed with the DA and a friend in the Portland press. Now, it wasn't just legal, it was public. The HOA panic was obvious. They started sabotaging my cameras. Sarah called it desperate people make mistakes. The final showdown was a community meeting clubhouse, packed Karen trying to spin the whole mess as a misunderstanding. I let her have the floor until she started up with her usual lies about safety and reclusive threats. Then I walked up front. Sarah plugged in the laptop and played the Zoom call. Karen's own voice scheming to take my land, calling me not one of us. Silence, then chaos. People shouting, board members walking out, Alicia standing up, finally telling everyone what Karen had really done. By the end, Karen was alone, her power evaporated in the same room she'd built it in. Court came next, months of filings, depositions, and finally that varnished wood courtroom. Sarah ran the table, forged maps, board member testimony, my title, my damage. The DA added obstruction, false reporting, fraud. The judge didn't hesitate, awarded full damages. Ordered the HOA dissolved, referred Karen for sentencing. Outside, Karen, flanked by deputies, hissed, "You think this is justice?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No, it's just a choice. You tried to take what was mine, and I didn't let you." 2 weeks later, the new signs went up bold, clear, and permanent. Former HOA folks showed up, helped dig the posts. No words about Karen, just a nod of respect. Alicia dropped by, wanted me to write a column for her new blog on HOA abuse. Sarah told me the county wanted me on an advisory board, asked if it paid in firewood. The land's still mine. The forest coming back. Deer on the trail, Cam's peace in the pines. Last week, some tourists called from across the creek. "Is this still the crazy guy's land?" I grinned, shouted back, "Yeah, and he's still here." He waved and turned around. Smart move. So let me ask you, where's the line between community and control? Where does justice land when neighbors go to war? Drop your thoughts below. Let's see who's got the guts to tell it like it is.